October 10, 2025. A silent deal unfolds on the Black Sea between Beijing and Moscow. A Lanter satellite spots a silent convoy moving through the Crimean fog. The trucks carry DF-11 missiles capable of devastating a Ukrainian city. Kiev receives the signal and activates Operation Night Veil. Dozens of FPV kamikaze drones are launched cheap, small, and relentless. The drones receive coordinates and the encrypted command attack. 15 missile trucks drive into a storm they can't see. Can Russia's Panzer S-1 intercept the swarm? Will this night end with an explosion that rewrites the balance of power? October 10th, 20250347 AM, a satellite captures a critical frame. A container marked ALH-455 is unloaded in Novorossiysk port. The container bears the emblem of China's Norco Group. 20 heavily armed Chinese soldiers guard the covert missile transfer. Within 9 seconds, the image reaches Kiev. Kiev's AI system runs the footage through 128 recognition filters. The verdict is chilling: DF-11 missiles capable of striking Kharkiv. Russia would gain a battlefield advantage worth hundreds of millions, potentially costing thousands of Ukrainian lives. At 3:49 AM, a red alert flashes across the Kiev Situation Room. Operation Night Veil, one analyst mutters. A Reaper MQ-9 is launched to shadow the convoy, tasked to capture every radio pulse and engine heat signature. The MQ-9 detects 15 trucks, 4 escorts, and 2 command jeeps, moving north at 38 miles per hour through dense woodland. AI projects their likely rest stop 12 miles ahead. This wasn't a cargo run, it was a mobile escalation. China was supplying Russia's front line under darkness. The decision came with no debate: we intercept, ordered the director. At 3:52 AM, Ukraine's first invisible strike began. The hunters were already in motion, preparing for the strike. At 4:05 AM, the MQ-9 Reaper held steady at 10 feet. Engines whispered above the fog-covered forest of Belgorod. Thermal feed showed 15 missile trucks carving a glowing trail. Each DF-11 missile carried a 100 pounds warhead, enough to obliterate a city block the size of Times Square. The convoy carried over 16 pounds of high-grade TNT, a rolling bomb train moving barely 38 miles per hour toward Ukraine's border. Inside Kiev's control center, monitors flickered with intercepted data. Ukraine's AI analyzed over 400 gigabytes of telemetry every minute. Within 46 seconds, the command vehicle was identified by its burst pattern. 37 unique RF signatures clustered around 4.3 gigahertzes. The convoy would pause 12.4 miles ahead near a fueling depot. Deploy 2 modified MTLB armored vehicles, call signs Echo 1 and Echo 2. They moved under radar blackout, halting 4 meters from the highway. Both vehicles carried EW suites capable of replaying enemy telemetry. Their secret weapon, Echo Trap, turned enemy jammers into blind transmitters. At 4:13 AM, a BU-M2 system detected a Ukrainian scout drone. The drone was vaporized, with a missile traveling Mach 3.5. Russia launched 2 Orlan 10 drones broadcasting jamming waves. Echo 1 activated the trap, capturing and inverting the Orleans pulse. The result: total chaos as Russia's jamming grid went blind. 15 missile trucks, each valued at nearly $8 million, entered a narrow clearing. The convoy carried over $120 million in DF-11 missiles and logistics gear. This firepower could devastate entire city sectors if deployed on the Kharkiv front. Unbeknownst to the drivers, they were inside a kill box calculated by Kiev's AI. At 041642, an encrypted message arrived from Kiev: execute Strike Alpha. Inside an MTLB, 2 operators keyed the ignition. A swarm of 20 FPV kamikaze drones shot upward, sounding like a swarm of bees. Each drone weighed 4.4 pounds, carrying a 2-pound-shaped charge. Together they carried explosive power rivaling a 500-pound bomb. The drones climbed to 200 feet, synchronized via laser pulse telemetry. The swarm broke into patterns only AI could predict, targeting fuel trucks, missile trailers, and command vehicles. Russian radar operators, overwhelmed by false echoes, never saw them coming. At 4,710, the first drone hit, striking a fuel truck carrying 620 gallons of diesel. The impact created an orange fireball reaching 65 feet, registering 3.2 on seismic sensors. Within 8 seconds, 2 more drones hit missile bays, each containing 100 pounds of propellant. The blast sequence chained at 700 feet per second, turning 15 vehicles into molten shrapnel. Panic swept through the escort units. The nearby Pantsir S-1 attempted a counter-salvo, launching 3 $90,000 missiles. Its radar, corrupted by echo trap interference, misfired all 3 into empty air. Russian soldiers fired wildly into the smoke, their shots lost in the explosions. By 4:1840, the flames consumed everything, trucks melted into skeletal frames. Drone telemetry logged a heat spike of 400 degrees F at the epicenter. In less than 5 minutes, an operation worth under $25,000 had annihilated over $120 million in hardware. 55 soldiers were killed or disabled, many believed to be Chinese advisors. At 4:20 a.m. silence. A crater 35 feet wide smoldered at the heart of the clearing. From orbit, Lanteris confirmed total destruction. The convoy was reduced to molten frames, a scene of total destruction. The heat signature peaked at 420 degrees Fahrenheit, enough to liquefy aluminum. The forest burned like a torch for the next 20 minutes. Russian units misread the destruction as an artillery strike. The Pantsir S-1 battery launched 2 more missiles into nothing. 1 missile exploded in mid-air, scattering debris. Local commanders went silent, radios overwhelmed by static. At 4:35 a.m., the first emergency response team reached the site. Drone footage showed 55 dead or missing, a grim discovery. At least 22 bodies belonged to Russian and Chinese personnel. Every missile casing was split open beyond salvage. The shockwave shattered 57 windows in a nearby settlement. Forensic units described the blast pattern as surgical yet catastrophic. In Kiev, the Reaper's infrared feed confirmed total destruction. The AI displayed a single word: objective complete. A Chinese-supplied weapons convoy had been wiped out in Russia. The diplomatic implications would ripple far beyond the battlefield. Russian state channels declared a logistical fire accident. Maxar's satellite imagery showed identical coordinates of denial. The blast crater over 10 meters deep left no room for denial. Ukraine's triumph was built on silence, a strategic victory. Over 300,000 pounds of hardware erased in less than 5 minutes. The war entered a new phase, invisible, precise, and impossible to ignore. The crater became the most analyzed piece of Earth on the planet. A $25,000 swarm erased $120 million in missile systems. A hidden control module and FPV swarm created a digital ambush. This operation risked global escalation for Ukraine. Chinese casualties meant the strike touched a geopolitical nerve. Moscow and Beijing filed diplomatic protests at the UN. Kiev responded, stating the convoy carried weapons of war. Western intelligence called it the 5-minute miracle. The drones achieved a 4:800 to 1 efficiency ratio. No nation has generated that much impact from so little hardware. A quiet unease grew. What would the next generation bring? Was this brilliance or the beginning of something dangerous? Smoke thinned over Belgorod, revealing a scar that wasn't there before. 15 blackened shells, a 35 feet wide crater, and obliterated hardware. History had changed course before the world's media woke up. Operators in Kiev redefined modern warfare with quiet realization. The mission cost less than a car vaporizing a protected convoy. The cost-to-destruction ratio was nearly 1 to 5,000. International networks reported an unexplained explosion near Belgorod. Russian state TV called it a fuel accident. Beijing denied involvement. Satellite images told a story that could not be buried. In intelligence circles, the strike was named Operation Silent Forest. To the world, it was a footnote. To Ukraine, proof of ingenuity. Ingenuity could triumph over firepower, outthinking empires. If war can be won by algorithms and drones, what comes next? New machines are watching. The war of tomorrow has begun. Support more in-depth breakdowns by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Hit the bell icon to never miss the next unfolding conflict.